On March 25th, 2025, a woman named Darion Jenkins shared a message on Facebook. "My baby is home. Lord, I thank you." Her son had just been released from prison after serving time for previous crimes. For Darion, it felt like the beginning of a new chapter, a second chance. But 6 days later, police responded to a home on Snowden Drive in Wilson, North Carolina. Inside, they found Darion Jenkins and her 15-year-old son, Darren Cox, stabbed to death. The suspect in the case was someone the victims knew well, Darion's own son. Now hold on for a second, because stories like this don't usually begin with the crime. They begin long before that moment. They begin with people, with relationships, with hope, and sometimes with warning signs folks wish they had paid closer attention to. Let me tell you something. Before her name was attached to headlines and police reports, Darion Jenkins was simply known as a good woman in her community. Born and raised in Wilson, North Carolina, Darion was the kind of person people described as warm, dependable, and deeply rooted in her faith. She worked full-time, stayed active in church, and still managed to show up for the people around her. Neighbors say she always had a smile on her face, always greeting people, always asking how they were doing. Darion believed strongly in faith, in kindness, and in second chances. That belief shaped the way she lived her life, and especially the way she raised her children. She had 2 sons. Her youngest, Darren Cox, was 15 years old, and by all accounts, he was the kind of kid people loved having around. Teachers said he was respectful, focused, and hardworking. At Bedingfield High School, he was doing well academically and had a reputation for being a positive presence in the classroom. He wasn't loud or trying to be the center of attention, but people noticed him because of his kindness. At Mount Moriah Community Church, Darren volunteered with the media team. He helped run equipment, assisted during youth events, and stayed involved in church activities. Folks around him believed Darren had a bright future ahead, and his bond with his mother was strong, really strong. Friends and family often said the two of them were close, like best friends. They laughed together, went to church together, and supported each other through the ups and downs of life. But Darion also had another son, her oldest child, Darion Jenkins, and his life had taken a very different path. Darren had struggled with legal trouble for years. His criminal history included charges like breaking and entering and larceny of firearms. The kind of charges that don't just happen overnight. They usually follow a pattern of decisions that start stacking up over time. Eventually, those decisions landed him behind bars. He spent about 3 years in prison. During that time, Darion never stopped supporting him. She visited him. She wrote letters. She prayed for him. Like many mothers, she believed that if she kept loving her child and kept believing in him, eventually he would find his way back. Make it make sense if you want, but that kind of hope is something a lot of parents hold on to. So when the day finally came for Darren to be released from prison, Darion was ready. She wanted him to feel like he still had a place to come home to. Photos from that day showed Darion standing beside her son, smiling with pride. It looked like the beginning of something hopeful, but some people who saw Darren that day noticed something else. They said he seemed distant, different, not necessarily angry, just off. One relative later said he looked like someone who was physically present but mentally somewhere else. But hey, when someone comes home from prison after years away, people expect some adjustment, so most folks didn't press too hard about it. They didn't want to ruin Dana's happiness, because in her mind, this was a second chance for her family. What nobody knew at that moment was that this reunion would only last 6 days. At first, life inside the house on Snowden Drive seemed normal enough. Darion had just come home from prison, so everyone understood that things might take a little time to settle. But in the days that followed, people around him started noticing behavior that felt unsettling. He didn't talk much. Instead, he spent a lot of time pacing around the house, especially late at night, opening doors, closing them again, looking out windows for long periods of time. Sometimes he would stand still in one place like he was lost in thought. Then suddenly, he would snap back into the moment and walk away. Family members described him as anxious, fidgety, like he couldn't relax. One person even said it felt like watching someone who was carrying tension inside their body that might explode at any moment. One night, someone reportedly saw him standing in the hallway outside a bedroom, just standing there quietly, just watching. Now look, moments like that can make people uncomfortable, but at the same time, nobody wanted to jump to conclusions. After all, Dana was happy her son was home, and nobody wanted to be the one to come to her and say something that might shatter that hope, so people kept their concerns to themselves. Then there was the injury. One morning, Darren appeared with his hand wrapped in a makeshift bandage. When someone asked him what happened, he brushed it off. No explanation, no details. But the moment that investigators would later focus on involved money. At some point during those 6 days, Darren asked his mother for $200. He told her he needed to buy some things. Dana gave it to him without hesitation. But according to investigators, Darren used that money to buy bleach, duct tape, and a hunting knife. The receipt was dated only days before the murders. Moving on, because what happened next changed everything. On March 31st, 2025, just 6 days after Darren returned home, something went terribly wrong inside that house. At around 5:30 p.m., a call came into Wilson County Emergency Dispatch. The details of that call weren't immediately clear, but it was enough for police to respond to the address on Snowden Drive. When officers arrived, the outside of the home looked normal. Dana's car was in the driveway. The porch light was on. There were no obvious signs of forced entry, but something felt wrong. When police eventually made their way inside the house, they discovered a scene that investigators would later describe as extremely violent. Dana Jenkins was dead. Her 15-year-old son, Darren Cox, was also dead. Both had been stabbed multiple times. Dana was found near the front area of the home. Darren was located further inside. Investigators later believed that he may have tried to run, but he didn't get far enough. And here's the part that left the entire community stunned. Darren Jenkins was still at the house when police arrived. He didn't run. Officers took him into custody without resistance. Within hours, authorities announced that the 25-year-old had been charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder.
Just released from prison last week, is now charged with killing his mother and younger brother after they were found dead in their Wilson County home on Monday.
Today, a family member who lives right next door is talking with WITN. Amarachi Uche is live in Wilson with more. And Amarachi, what did they tell you?
Yeah, Darion Jenkins is facing 2 counts of first-degree murder after police say he killed his mother and younger brother. They were found dead here in this home behind me. Now, the cousin of the mother is speaking to us, trying to figure out how this could have happened.
always smiled. I can see her smiling right now. She always smiled.
That's how Juanilia Carnegie describes her cousin, Dana Jenkins. Now she is left shocked and hurt after learning Jenkins was found dead in her Wilson home alongside her 15-year-old son. The suspect in these horrific murders, Jenkins's older son.
I would have never thought that. I would have never thought he would do something like that. Not like this.
Police say on Monday they went to this home on Snowden Drive shortly before 5:30 p.m. and found the 50-year-old Dana Jenkins and a 15-year-old boy dead. According to Carnegie, the 15-year-old's name is Darren. Tuesday, police say they have the son of Dana and the older brother to Darren, Darion Jenkins, in custody for these deaths. Carnegie says that in the days leading up to the murders, she felt something was off with Darion.
You could see it, the look. It told you everything. But I had no idea that you was getting ready to do what you did.
This church is where Dana and Darren found comfort. Bishop Sherman Blandon says he knew them well.
It has been very difficult, confusing, troubling.
Carnegie remembers speaking to her cousin Sunday night and seeing police around the building the next day, telling her that 2 of her family members were now gone. The 25-year-old now faces 2 counts of first-degree murder, leaving Carnegie wondering how this could have happened.
Couldn't figure out why he did it and what for.
Carnegie says they just had 5 deaths in the family, so these murders only add to that pain. She says she's not going to take it one day at a time and remember the good times she had with her cousin. Reporting live in Wilson, Amarachi Uche, WITN News.
All right, thank you, Amarachi. Now, records show the 25-year-old Jenkins was released from state prison 1 week ago after serving time for larceny of firearms and several breaking and enterings of vehicles convictions. Jenkins is now being held without bond.
Now to the double murder in Wilson County. We're learning the suspect is charged with killing his own brother and his mother. Police identifying the victims as 50-year-old Dana Jenkins and her 15-year-old son, Darren Cox. Jenkins' 25-year-old son, Darion Jenkins, is now charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder. The victims were found inside a home yesterday evening on Snowden Drive. Cindy Bay has new reaction from the family.
Loved ones are reeling from the death of a mother and son who police say were found dead inside their Wilson home on Monday.
She was a very sweet person. Always smiled. I can see her smile right now. She always smiled.
Juanilia Carnegie lives next door to her cousin Dana Jenkins, who was allegedly killed by her older son, 25-year-old Darion Jenkins. Jenkins is also accused of killing his 15-year-old brother, a Wilson County school student who is being remembered by Beddingfield High School and Mount Moriah Community Church in Wilson.
They loved each other. They loved us. We loved them, especially Darren. He meant the world to all of us. Our teens here, they're grieving heavily.
According to court documents, Jenkins was released from prison on March 25th on separate charges, just 1 week before the incident. Jenkins is facing 2 counts of first-degree murder as Wilson police investigate the circumstances surrounding the victims' deaths.
This is a tragedy, and honestly, there is no winner in this. And I'll be praying for everyone watching this, everyone affected by this and impacted by this.
Cindy Bay, ABC 11 Eyewitness News.
Meanwhile, investigators continued building their case against Darion Jenkins. Court documents revealed more details about his criminal past. He had previously been denied parole twice while serving his prison sentence due to behavioral issues and violent incidents behind bars. His release on March 25th wasn't because officials believed he had been rehabilitated. It was because his sentence had simply reached its legal end. Then investigators discovered something else that raised even more questions. Dana Jenkins had a life insurance policy through her employer, and according to records, the listed beneficiary was Darion Jenkins. Now look, investigators haven't publicly stated every possible motive, but they did examine whether that policy could have played a role in what happened. Make it make sense. On April 1st, 2025, Darion Jenkins appeared in court for the first time. He showed very little emotion during the hearing. Prosecutors formally charged him with 2 counts of first-degree murder. The judge ordered that he be held without bond while the case moved forward. Family members sat in the courtroom trying to process the reality of the situation. A mother who had welcomed her son home, a younger brother who had his whole life ahead of him, and a tragedy that unfolded in less than a week. 6 days. That's all it took. 6 days for a message that once said, "My baby is home. Lord, I thank you," to become part of a story that ended in loss. The case against Darion Jenkins continues to move through the legal system. But for the family, the community, and everyone who knew Dana and Darren, the pain of what happened inside that house on Snowden Drive will likely last much longer than any courtroom proceedings, because sometimes the hardest part of stories like this isn't just the crime itself. It's the question that lingers afterward. How did things get to this point? And could it have been prevented?